Now we're talking to Reinhard Schäler, who is CEO and founder of SAOL Foundation, who deal with people with severe acquired brain injury. Reinhard, you're very welcome to Disability Matters.
Thank you very much, Sean.
You're very
Delighted.
welcome. You might start just tell us a little bit about the history of SAOL, why it was set up, and what it does.
Well, it's a personal story, very complex, very long. To keep it short, our son, Padraig, just had finished his studies in Irish and history in Trinity. And just before he graduated, decided to go on his last J1 to the States, to Cape Cod. And while he was there, just 2 or 3 weeks into his work there, he was hit by a truck while he was cycling to work one morning and suffered a very severe acquired brain injury. Um, Long story, as I said, to cut it short a little bit. When he came back, we were sure, that that Padraig was not the only person who had suffered such an injury, and that there must have been some service for people like him. We started to look around and looked around and looked again and thought we were not looking hard enough because we couldn't find anything. And then we discovered eventually that there were no services for people like Padraig, for people who had long-term effects of a severe brain injury. And
Okay.
so we were thinking, well, what are we going to do? And because we had met a number of other families along the way, decided to not just do something for Padraig, but to set up the SAOL Foundation, and then eventually to apply to or to talk to the government and ask them would they agree to fund a 3-year pilot project to develop services for people with the long-term effects of a severe acquired brain injury. And when Simon Harris was Minister for Health, he met us and he agreed. And so we opened the SAOL Center in Santry in 2020, ran a 3-year pilot project, got a review by independent international experts appointed by the HSE, who then wrote a report, and the report found that this service was necessary, that it was really well delivered, and that it should be expanded. And that's where we are at the moment.
Wow. What a story.
So we,
It's
it's a
it's
bit longer
the
than.
uh, a serious acquired brain injury is a whole family problem, isn't it?
Yeah, it is something that obviously affects the person directly
Yeah.
affected by it most, but it affects everybody. Our life, so my wife's Pat's life, my life, the life of his two sisters and his friends and even the people, when we were in Cape Cod, like there were lots of his friends were working there. Like everybody's life was turned upside down in a split second, and we were all in different parts, and when it happened, and we met there, and I remember that I was sure that they had mixed him up with somebody else until I walked into that room in the ICU in Cape Cod Hospital and saw him there, and everything just collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's like the feeling is a little bit like when you those old style cisterns in the toilet.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
pull the chain and the water flushes out, goes down. That's what it felt in my body. It
Yeah.
felt like somebody had pulled that chain and everything and anything in my body just had left through my feet. We were all completely gutted.
Which is a
It was
natural
terrible.
reaction. And, and then,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
know any
And the
statistics?
thing is, it can happen to everybody, anytime.
Yeah. Do you know any statistics behind severe acquired brain injury? Do you know how many people have it?
Um, yeah, so generally, and so we learned all. I learned all that over the last few years because I had no knowledge of. I had never heard. Well, I've heard of brain injuries, but I'd never realized what it was and what it meant. So what we've learned is that there are mild, there are moderate, and there are severe acquired brain injuries. And the thing is that the diagnosis is made around the time of the event. And what that means is that, sometimes somebody with a severe acquired brain injury recovers quite well, and to a point where they are nearly, can function as prior to the accident. Sometimes people don't recover at all, or they recover very slowly. It takes a long, long time. And some people die, to be
Yeah.
frank about it. But it's so we are looking at our son. Park has severe, like ongoing, some people call it chronic effects where he needs 24-hour care. He has no speech. He has very little controlled movement, but he understands, he understands everything, communicates through a beeper. And so he wants and he needs, well, he wants a quality of life. He enjoys life. He wants to, live a life as best as he can, and for that he just needs support, and that's what we are, providing for him and others there.
Fantastic.
So statistics, to go back to your question,
Go on.
we think we think that there are well the one of those experts that we had to review our operation extrapolated numbers from the UK. There's no numbers and no figures available in Ireland. And he believes that there's about 25 people in Ireland a year who suffer such an injury and the long-term effects, which means that since Padraig's accident, there are 300 young people around somewhere in Ireland, who are in a similar situation. We don't know where they are. We are not knowing what happens to them. We met one 3 weeks ago in the NRH on the Sunday evening with his family. And they had contacted us because on the following day, the Monday, that young 19-year-old man was to be shipped to, it's a bad word, but I think it describes it quite well, to
Yeah.
a nursing home in Wexford. Where he was going to, well, the plan was that he's decades of expressed governance policy to not allow this to happen.
Yeah.
Young people especially, should not be placed in nursing homes. It's completely inadequate, and it's still happening. It's still going on. And I don't know how the politicians sleep at night, because sending a 19-year-old to a nursing home
Yeah.
because there's no other place for him is beyond comprehension.
We had a guy who attends here, and for something like 14 years, he lived in a nursing home, which is disgraceful, all because he had a disability.
Yeah.
Can I?
And that's the easy way out, for the system.
Yeah, it's a simple choice, and but it's not the right choice.
No. So that is why we proposed, well, probably 3 or 4 years ago, Chuck on Sale, which is the idea is to build a little campus with 4 hubs on it. One for a social hub. Then the second one is a therapy hub. The third one is a respite hub, and the fourth one is an assisted temporary living hub. And we got land. The Dublin City Council made land available for this project in Ballymun. Great site. The HSE and politicians support it. The HSE now decided that they were going to implement it in 2 phases. One phase, the first phase, just looking at the social and the therapy hub, and the second phase, then the living hubs. And we hopefully will start building next year.
Very cool.
The problem with that is that the HSE are taking so long. so long. They say, even if they start with it now, it will take them another 4 years. So it'll probably be near to 10 years from the let's say the birth of the project to its implementation. When all the implementation work so far has been done by some of Ireland's largest companies who worked pro bono for, I'd say, more than a year now with the SAOL Foundation to put plans together, to apply for planning permission and everything else. Excuse me. The HSE still has taken years and years and years to get going. And if phase one is going to take close to 10 years to implement, I think that I will not see phase two happening in my lifetime. So something has to happen. And the thing is that politicians and the HSE pay lip service every day of the week, and they say, well, what a scandal it is that young people have to go into nursing homes. And there we are coming up with a solution to that problem. And it takes them decades to implement it. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And it's dysfunctional. You can't call it anything else. And it's not the individuals. The individuals, there are good people there, but the system is not working. It's broken.
Absolutely.
And, I am not sure what it would take to fix it.
Yeah, it's a scandal. Look, in my view, the HSE are a national disgrace. They're definitely dysfunctional. They definitely don't look at the easy solution, and they don't support the easy solution. And that's in many, many, many cases. So I'm on your side in this.
So what do we have to do? There was a lady called, I can't think of her second name, but she was one of the clinical leads in the HSE years ago. And she said, rehabilitation needs a revolution. And I think that's what it needs. The question is, who's going to lead it, and what is the outcome going to be?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we need somebody to take over some leadership and to recognize their responsibility and take it up.
So listen, can I ask you this? If I'm a person with a severe acquired brain injury and I go to SAOL, what happens? What's the day-to-day like?
Yeah, so we are day service from Monday to Friday. Start at 9, quarter to 10. It depends a little bit on the clients that are coming in. They finish at about 5. Our core clients, that are the people who are really the severely affected clients, we would expect them to attend at least 3 times a day for about 4 hours. And what we do is we address their needs around their body, their mind, and their soul. So the body is physical exercise that we all need, but where those people need a bit more help. So we have robot-assisted gait training, the only devices of their kind accessible in Ireland. We do something for the mind. So we do encourage and support different types and alternative types of communication. For example, we do cognitive exercises to keep the mind busy as well as the body. And then the third area, the soul, that's all about well-being and feeling good. And we have music therapy, we have massage, we have holistic therapies, all sorts of things that where you can just relax and be and live in the moment without any noise around you, any distractions. And all that works quite well, and it's free. So when people come to us and we don't know them, we assess them and make sure that they are happy with what we are offering, and we are happy that they fit kind of the profile of somebody with a severe acquired brain injury. We make sure that they're happy to get involved because one of our values are community responsibility and healthy living. So we believe that we are better together, which means that everybody is included, everybody has a say. And then if we think that there might be a match there, then we organize a trial period of maybe 2 or 3 months where people start attending and get into the routine. And then if at the end of the trial period we are all still happy, then we go through a more formal admissions process, and then people are part of our service. And there's no end to it. So we recognize that this is a service that has to be offered to people for as long as they need it. And for some, it will be for the rest of their lives. Some might get better, and so much better that they don't need us anymore. And that has happened in not many, but in some cases too.
Isn't that fantastic? It's great to have something to look out for in the future. It's fantastic. And it's very progressive what you do, isn't it? A lot of the therapies and so on are very progressive.
Yeah, and it even, so the people, our core clients are all people on whom the system has given up on. So they're all people where the doctors and the clinicians said there's not more that we can do to help you. We have all of us, all of the core clients have been told this. In one case, we have it even in writing from a senior consultant here in Ireland, where the consultant said that to the mother who was looking for a referral to a service, and the consultant said, "Well, your son does not need any further interventions. The only thing that he needs is to be kept comfortable," which is another word for palliative treatment.
Yeah.
And we have proven that consultant wrong, because that guy is now standing in front of a Swedish ladder and tells us about he's big into horse racing. He loves Liverpool. He's sometimes a little bit annoyed with the exercise that we ask him to do. So he's wondering when his taxi comes to bring him back home, and so he is part of Ansel now. He has a life worth living. He enjoys aspects of his life. He doesn't enjoy other aspects of his life equally as we do. So there are good days, like yesterday when Ireland won against Portugal. There are bad days. There are bad days when I don't know, when it's raining outside and miserable, and we really would like to stay in bed rather than facing the cold.
Good for him.
The humidity. Yeah, no. So those are our little success stories. So that person is not going to be, well, it's unlikely that he will be kind of rehabilitated in the sense that he is going to recover to a point that he can go back to work, go back to school or whatever. But he has a quality of life now, and he has moments where he enjoys the company in Ansel, other people that have similar stories to tell, and where we can have fun.
Brilliant.
And it's not all about misery. So
that's a great story. Having been given up upon, to come out of it like that is fantastic. Tell me, what's SAOL pilot project all about?
Well, the pilot project was there to demonstrate that it makes sense to work with people where the system had decided that they did not have a reasonable chance of a meaningful recovery. So we did a bit of radio work when we were looking for help with Padraig. And the first ever interview that we did, we were joined by one of Ireland's leading neurologists. And she told us, Pat and myself, that while she understood our personal tragedy, we had to understand that a health system with limited resources had to invest those resources in people who had a meaningful chance of, or a reasonable chance of a meaningful recovery. And that to me sounded like the advice a stockbroker would
Yeah.
do well investors, not somebody who was working in the health system. Because there are other issues. There are human rights issues, there are ethical and moral aspects to all of this. And you don't just give up on people. Some people decide that that they that they have problems with their conditions and they don't want to live like that. But there are people who are happy to and want to continue and put all the efforts that they can gather to continue with their lives as best as they can. And they merit and they need and they require and they're worth every second of time that we can give them and every cent of support they need to help them make their life meaningful. Because at the end of the day, they want the same things that healthy people want. They want to keep their body in a good shape. They want to have they want to keep their mind busy, and they want to have moments where they really feel kind of relaxed and happy and in company. And that is not something that you get in a nursing home,
Yeah.
or in any other what do you call those kind of institutions,
Yeah.
where very often they're also commercial enterprises, so they're not, well, they help people, but they also help their owners and their investors. Yeah, it's very different. It's a very different story.
Can I ask, is your son in a different place now to where he was?
You know what? Two short stories. So one story is that he participated, the Assisted Decision Making Act when
Oh,
the
brilliant.
Decision Support Service
Yeah.
was set up. So he was one of the champions. So his face was on posters, on ads, on videos around the country. And for his work, he signed a contract, he opened a bank account, and he got his first ever salary as an adult.
Yeah.
And some people said, well, it's about time that he made a bit of money himself. But that was a major milestone.
That's a massive milestone.
And now, massive, massive, massive. And the other one, more recent one, is that he, his sister, and a friend applied for funding to do a movie project, and they're working on this now. So it's there's a lot of projects. So there's an idea to, well, we traveled. He always wanted to travel to Alaska. We went with him to Alaska. Not the way that he had planned himself in the bus, but it had to be slightly more kind of adapted to
Yeah.
to his circumstance. But he has a life. He does things. He meets his friends. He gives out to us. He doesn't like my jokes because he says, dad jokes, and especially if they're German, they're not funny. But he has the same sense of humor. He still understands German, Irish is a real Gaeilgeoir, obviously English and Spanish. So he travels with us to Spain on the boat to Bilbao every year, and we do lots of stuff. Obviously, he would like to do that, without his now maybe elderly parents.
Yeah.
But well, there are some disadvantages that you have to just live with, and get on. But I think he's in a different space than he was before, and
Brilliant.
SAOL has helped him a lot as well. He is on no medication whatsoever. He is eating and drinking what he likes to eat and drink. He's, he has his limitations, as we all have, and his are maybe a little bit, more and more severe than other people's. But I think he's enjoying his life overall. Not all the time, every day, but as much as we do. I think.
That's very uplifting. I think it's fantastic, especially given that somebody in the HSE gave up on him.
Well, all our core clients, and we have 16 now, and we have 26 clients altogether, and 16 of them are people who have been affected by a severe acquired brain injury. All of those, um, all of those were told that there was no point in continuing to with therapies or activity. There are no alternative services available to them, and which is a terribly sad thing. And because if you come, like we have Patrick's Day parties, we had a Halloween event. No matter what your level of ability is, that you have the right to a life, that you have a right to company, and that you can enjoy life as much as everybody else.
Fantastic. We're running out of
So it's
time.
not just him, it's no lot.
We're running out of time, unfortunately. I could speak to you forever because it's a very, very interesting subject. I wish you the best of luck with on SAOL and with the the pilot project. I think it's a great thing to do. It must be a very uplifting job you have. And thank you so much for talking to us.
Well, thank you, John, and it's great to have your station around PCIL, and it's great to have alternative voices being heard. Should happen more often and more frequently, and so thank you for doing a great job there with your
It's
station.
great. It's great. Thank you so much.